Welcome Maple Grove, I'm Wes, and today we're going to do a down and dirty video on throwing a well pump in. Reason why we're doing well pump is we haven't had any appreciable rain about the past 2 weeks, and the spawning beds for the bluegill are getting really close to being out of the water. So we need to get a little bit of well water in here, raise this up enough so hopefully we can save some of these babies and we can have a pond full for the grands to catch before long. Stephanie's getting her classroom ready. She's a 3rd grade teacher, so she's not out here today, but as hot as it is, she don't need to be out here anyway. So most of the time when you do a well pump, you're gonna do it with roll plumbing, like roll PVC. We're planning on doing 1 inch, but time made it so we have to go ahead and do it down and dirty. So we're going to do it with 3/4 inch garden hose and just run hoses over here and plug it up with the generator because we ain't got power run down here yet. So it's not going to be actual how-to video, it's what's happening video. So it's time to get busy. The first thing that had to be done was build a way to hang the well pump so it doesn't fall down in the well along with the hose, the cord, and the rope. So I built a little truss out of a section of pallet racking that was left over from when we set the barn up. Well, all right, let's go test fit it. Bingo. It ain't pretty, but it'll hold and it's not gonna come off. All right, back to the barn. The well's about 66, 67 feet deep, and water starts at about 20 foot. We got a 100-foot hose, so we're gonna mark the hose starting at 50 feet every 5 feet so we can kind of get a gauge on when we hit water and how deep we're setting everything. So I'm fixing to get that hooked up, marked off now. Mention that's hot in Alabama today. All right, we got everything taped together. It's ready to go down the pipe. Got our poly rope, got our hose, which is not the right way to do it, but that's how we're doing it. And the power cord's already been extended and it's ready to go. Just hit water. Foot, we ought to be getting close. 66 feet, we're on the bottom. Time to place our homemade well cap. After several false starts overloading the little generator, the neighbor let us drop a cord from the house and it pumped. I guess I was expecting too much because 20 minutes later, the well was dry, so we had to stop and let it refill. It looks like we're going to be able to get about 3 pumpings per day out of it at 20 minutes apiece, so about 700 gallons. I guess I was expecting too much, but oh well, some's better than none. All right, the well's having to refill itself. It's not a very deep well, and I figured we was going to run out of water at some point, so we're going to do a couple of little things. You come back here and clean this camera lens off. Changed the battery a couple days ago, and I don't know if it got something on it, but the deer are extra fuzzy, so maybe that'll help. All right, it's been about 45 minutes. We'll plug this thing up and see how much water we get out of it. And it's gonna take a while for it to fill back up. We didn't hardly get anything. Well, all right, I guess we'll try it again this evening. All right, we're letting that well fill back up, so we're gonna yank some T-posts out of the ground for the neighbor. All right, I'm gonna be taking this backhoe off for too much longer, probably this afternoon or tomorrow. But I noticed a couple trees back in the woods I want to try to get plucked out with it before I pull this thing off. I got a love-hate relationship with this backhoe. Y'all find more about that when I go take this thing off. But anyway, let's head to the woods. Well, you need the backhoe. Even better. All right, let's go yank this thing off. This is our little tractor. It's a TWM T25. Had it 2 years, almost got 500 miles on it. The only thing I do different, wouldn't get this. It works, does what it's supposed to do. The problem is, where those pins go in right there, there's not very much room at the back of the tire to get the pins wiggled in. But the main problem comes in, those are also where the 3-point hitch check chains hook up. So if you're ever using a tractor with something other than the backhoe and you bump something, you drag your mower, you drag your box blade, something, those get pulled, and once they're not in alignment, good luck. Every time I put this thing on, I have to take the back wheels off. Last time it took me an hour and 10 minutes, and I finally gave up and found a bolt that's a little bit smaller than the pin and put a bolt in it. So it made noise while I was using it, but I was doing a favor for a buddy, so I did what I had to do. But yeah, $6 grand. I think I'd have got a Chinese Mini X or just rented one when I needed it and not worried about it. It's nice to have, but it's such a pain. I never want to use it because I don't want to put it on. So, taking it back off. Alright, getting this flail mower put on. We're going to go do a little cutting back here in the woods for the neighbor. Get Greenfield ready. Got to get these check links adjusted.
94, feels like 104, feels like 124. About time to go to the house, soak up some of this air conditioning.